First of all, thank you for sparing your time for this interview. I know you must be like caught up because I was looking at your LinkedIn account. I'm like, wow, this guy is all over the place. And I was like wondering, how do you do it, like especially during this time period?
Uh, with discipline, I guess it's a short answer. There's a lot of and probably I have to give credit to the people I work with in the team at Professional Development Forum, who is incredibly passionate and capable set of individuals. Outside of my day job, which I work as an IT account executive,
Yeah.
there's certainly a lot going on, but I
Yeah.
think being disciplined and organized does help.
What has been the most rewarding thing about like starting professional development forum?
When I founded the Professional Development Forum,
Yeah.
it was, believe it or not, it was out of frustration. It was out of a very deep sense of frustration because me and my group of friends, we didn't feel very satisfied with where our career was,
Yeah.
and so. I mean, we got together and tried to do something about it. Now we got together with a group of people and found the most senior person we knew at the time. We got her into a room to hear from her about what she did to become, who she was at the time. And so that's the first professional development forum. It was kind of just happened by accident. But every month since then, we've heard from someone just like her. They shared with us the stories about how they achieved career success. We've been doing this for 15 years. So over that time, we realized that there was something much bigger that's going on. And that is that people from certain cultural backgrounds,
Yeah.
we find are struggling to achieve what we believe is their potential.
Yeah.
Now, as most notably, people from like an Asian background, people from a South American background, or people
Yeah.
from more of an African background.
Yeah.
And the reason we believe that that's happening is because these backgrounds are very different to the culture, the mainstream culture in Australia, which is more of an Anglo-Celtic background, more of a European background.
Mhm.
And how that manifests itself is in the career advice that we get. So
Mhm.
things that help us, the things you can't learn from a textbook, but they are absolutely vital to us in terms of how we tackle our careers, how we achieve success in our jobs.
Mhm.
And the reason that they're missing is because normally these are the sort of advice taught to us by people who are close to us, would be our parents, our
Yeah.
uncles, our family and friends. But the problem with the cultural divide is that my dad probably don't know about the Australian workplace. So therefore, it is more difficult for him to give me the sort of advice that I think I need in order to succeed. That is something that I feel that is missing for this particular segment who don't have access to this sort of advice. And that's what professional development seek to fill. So what we're asking for as part of Professional Development Forum is for young people from diverse cultural background to join us.
Yeah.
Um, especially those people who feel like they're just a little bit outside the box.
Mm.
We'd love for you
Yeah.
to join us at Professional Development Forum to learn about all these things that you need to know in order to succeed, but you'll
Mm.
never learn from a textbook.
Even for me, still like I still find it. There is jobs that I think, maybe even before like I started like looking for work, I had like people in my community that were like, oh, no, those jobs we can't get those jobs. Because it's like you have to be look a certain way, you have to talk. We felt like if you're not talking a certain way, you can't get that job. In what ways have you noticed the growth of your the project?
Probably the most notable way that we've grown as a project is captured by the speakers,
Yeah.
our guests that have been able to speak to us. So over the years, we've had some incredible people talk to us. And this is something that was a bit of an eye opener for me, coming from 15 years ago, where I felt absolutely disconnected from anyone, from leadership, from anyone in power. What we've learned through the process is that if we were to take the initiative, people usually respond pretty well. And you might see from some of the videos that we posted earlier this year, we had David Thodey, who was formerly the CEO of Telstra.
Yeah.
Now, if you know who he is, he's probably one of the highest profile business people in this country. And he was incredibly generous to share with us his wisdom and time. And all we did was ask. And so that's something that we've learned through that process, that there is a whole lot of generosity in Australia, in business leadership. But it is up to people like us to take the initiative to reach out, to connect, to learn, to do everything that we can to help ourselves. So PDF has always been focused on things that we can control. Now, clearly, I'd be lying to you if I say that there is no more discrimination in the workplace. Of course there is. But instead of waiting for things to change, instead of whinging and whining, what we can do is to focus on improving us, to be as good as we could possibly be in terms of how we operate, how we deal with people, how we lead. And quite frankly, I believe if we can take care of that, it will be very difficult for you not to find some level of success. And I wish I had something like PDF when I started my career. The idea behind PDF is that we want to share that advice. We want to make that advice freely available to anyone who's looking for it, so that they can help themselves. By making the recording of the webinars available through social media, through YouTube, people can then go and look for those pieces of advice and help themselves. We're open for all to join us. People who tend to find the kind of content that we share useful are the ones that's already had some level of experience within the workplace.
I might be in that bracket.
Oh, I believe you would be.
You are involved with Community Voices. What made you begin your journey with Community Voices, the project?
So I'm glad you asked about that. So I've always been pretty passionate advocate for my community, always wanting to help those around me, especially people who are not represented. The media in Australia probably is not as diverse as it could be. If you're not in the culture that is similar to the mainstream culture, it's very difficult to engage with the media. And that's what the Community Voices program is all about. They give us a training so that we can effectively communicate to the media. So the Community Voices program has been absolutely invaluable for me, because now I understand how to speak to the media in the way that can get my message across. Through Community Voices, I can also bring some of these conversations into the bigger, wider national conversations. And so by having these conversations in the media, we can change the attitude towards professionals from certain backgrounds, because I do think that we are underutilizing them as a nation. I believe that Australia would be better off if these talent could be fully utilized.
When you get someone, or if someone approaches you and they begin the program, or when do you know that, okay, they're ready to go out in the real world, maybe to do what you've trained them to do?
Everyone progresses at a different pace because they've got a very different context. What we're trying to do is to expand your horizons. Have you thought about these things? It's about making perspectives that you might or not have considered. What we're hoping to become is a constant conversation. What we're not going to be is become an MBA school to teach you how to, run a business. Our model is quite creative. Probably the best way to describe what the organization is for the first 15 years is guerrilla networking. We've only just registered as an incorporation in March this year. And that's only because we are planning now to be open to donations. Now, prior to this, we never needed it, because the only thing we actually ever needed was a place for us to meet.
Learning more about PDF, I think it helped me that I know that there is open people out there like you who are willing to help and guide
Absolutely.
you.
If you take one thing away from me today, is know how much power you have by taking initiative. If you go in with a victim mindset, you've already lost. If you go in and you try your best, when you reach out, you show people that you're willing to work hard, you're willing to take that initiative, it's incredibly well received. If we take the initiative, we can create a better future for ourselves. Life doesn't end at 50. Life goes on for a long time. And if you haven't made it by 50, don't give up. Surround yourself with those people that wants the best for you.
Definitely. Thank you, Jeffrey.
All right. Take care, Kasozi.
You too. Take care.